Good day, students, and welcome to the second part of our PE lesson this third quarter period. In the previous discussion, we discussed the nature and background of festival dances, recall of the basic dance movements and basic folk dance steps, and the different festivals celebrated in our country. This time, we are going to focus on the fitness benefits of festival dancing as well as the common injuries that dancers experience and how to prevent them, and lastly, the calorie counter table guide on the energy-giving foods that you should consume. At the end of this discussion, I will be showing the activities you need to answer in PE Module 2. So listen carefully all throughout our discussion. In the previous quarter, you have learned how to compute for your target heart rate. In this lesson, we will recall how to compute for yours. To maximize the benefits you can derive from social dancing in relation to cardiovascular fitness, you need to know your target heart rate range. This helps you determine the intensity or level of exerted effort you are pouring into your dancing. I will show you how to determine your THR or target heart rate range. Just follow the steps that I will teach you and you will arrive at your own PMHR and THR, which you could use in determining the intensity of your dancing activity. Let's start with step number 1. First, I will show you how to compute for your predicted maximum heart rate or PMHR. The formula is 220 minus your age. For example, to get the PMHR of a 15-year-old person, the solution will be 220 minus 15, and the PMHR is 205. Take note of this PMHR because we will need it to compute your lowest and highest target heart rate. Second step is computing for your lowest target heart rate. The formula is PMHR, which is the one we computed earlier, multiplied by 60% or 0.6. The PMHR we got earlier was 205. Then, we will multiply it by 0.6. And the result is 123 beats per minute. This is now the LTHR of a 15-year-old person. For the third and last step, you need to work out for your highest target heart rate that you can aim for during exercise by multiplying your PMHR by 80% or 0.8. Again, the PMHR earlier, which is 205, will now be multiplied to 80% or 0.8. And the result is 164 beats per minute. This is now the HTHR of a 15-year-old person. So, when you are dancing, you are aiming for the range of the two figures you have produced in step 2 and step 3. In the example given, the target heart rate of a 15-year-old individual is from 123 to 164 beats per minute during exercise. Go ahead and try these steps using your actual age to know your target heart rate during every dancing activity. Festival dancing has a lot of benefits in our health. Here are some of those benefits. It is a good form of exercise. It facilitates teamwork and sense of community. It reduces the risk of cardiorespiratory diseases. They help one achieve a personally active lifestyle. It maximizes our use of energy and enhances cardiorespiratory health. They develop one's awareness of his own and others' culture through festivals, and they contribute to the enhancement of community awareness. Our body is like a machine. It needs to be fueled for it to run. Unlike machines, we eat foods that make us go. You have learned in the past years about the 3 food groups already, but this time, we will focus on energy-giving foods. These specific foods that give us energy are called go foods. They are the primary source of carbohydrates. They are found in rice, bread, pasta, or noodles, and others. Other sources of carbohydrates also include proteins and fats. Now, I will show you a calorie counter table which you can refer to for your consumption of foods depending on your physical activities. By large, all basic food nutrients mentioned in Table 3 are important in the study of fitness. The amount and kind of food that an individual consumes on a regular basis also serve as a good indicator of health and fitness. Regarding the maintenance of appropriate weight, a well-balanced diet, and a regular exercise program are still the best fundamentally sound approaches to achieve general fitness. Energy is measured in calories. Calories energize us when we move or do any physical activity. Light or heavy, calories are consumed. Overconsumption of calories results to dizziness or hypoglycemia. When this happens, we need to refuel our bodies to get it active and moving again. These calorie counter tables will help you track the food and amount of servings you consume. Now, I will teach you how to compute for your total energy requirement or TER. To compute for one's total energy requirement or TER, the formula is desirable body weight multiplied by physical activity energy requirement. For this, refer to the table 4 below for energy requirement or physical activity. For example, the given body weight is 59 kilograms and the physical activity is heavy. Then, the energy requirement for that is 45. Therefore, 59 kilograms will be multiplied to 45. And the answer is 2,655 or 2,700 calories. This amount of calorie is needed if you are 59 kilograms and you will do a heavy physical activity. This time, let's discover what are some common dance injuries that dancers experience during their practice and sometimes in their actual dance performances. Why do dance injuries happen? Dance is a physically demanding activity. Dancers perform repetitive movements for several hours a day. Studies have shown that dancing 5 hours a day or longer leads to an increased risk of stress, fractures, and other injuries. Restrictive diets and unhealthy body weights may also contribute to dance injuries. Proper nutrition is important for dancers of all ages. Here are some common injuries that dancers experience. The first one is ankle sprains. Next, they also get blisters. They often have it on their feet because of long time durations of practice and dance performance. They also get muscle cramps, but this usually happens when they do not do stretching exercises before they start. And lastly, they get burns and grazes because of little accidents during the dancing activities which cannot be avoided sometimes. The most prescribed treatment for those injuries is what we call RICE method. RICE is an acronym that stands for Rest, Ice, Compress, and Elevate. First, rest the injured area for 48 hours. Then, put ice for 20 minutes at a time for 4 to 8 times per day. Next, compress the injured part to help reduce swelling. And lastly, if applicable and really needed, elevate the injured area for 6 to 10 inches above the heart. The majority of injuries and even some traumatic dance injuries can be prevented before it even happens. Follow these guidelines to reduce your risk of injury as you perform the following activities. Eat well and stay hydrated before, during, and after class. Get enough rest and avoid overtraining. Do cross-training exercises to build strength and endurance in all parts of the body. Always wear proper shoes and attire. Always warm up before training or performances. Lead a healthy lifestyle and get to know your body. When injuries happen, address them immediately through first aid and get advice from a doctor or a physical therapist. Filipinos do festivals primarily to celebrate. There are a multitude of reasons for this. There is also this gathering and battle of all festivals within the country which is called Aliwan Festival. Festival dances are a reflection of the unity of the Filipino community that despite the economic, social, environmental, cultural, and political challenges we face every day, there can be no other race more resilient than ours. And that ends all our lessons for PE this third quarter period. I hope you learned a lot about festival dances and its benefits in our health. Now, as I said earlier, I will show you the activities that you need to answer in your PE Module 2. This is the last module for PE this quarter. Make sure to complete all your activities. That would be all for today. Thank you for listening and see you in our next lesson.